Hello, everybody. As the supply of homes have shrunk all over the United States, investors are looking for more alternative ways to invest in properties. And some people have actually even turned to buying modular homes. There's been some very costly mistakes that some investors have made with modular homes, and today I'm going to be sharing them with you. It could save you a lot of money if you're thinking about doing this as an investment. I know many of you subscribers have been looking at the boxable homes and are using that as an investment property, and we're going to be talking a little bit further about that. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. When it comes to the idea of a modular home, people get it kind of twisted between a modular and a manufactured home. A manufactured home is a home that's like basically in two pieces or one piece. So they have single wide, double wide, triple wide. But we're talking about modular homes, which are homes that are built in the factory in a manufacturing plant, but they're put together on site at the location that you're planning on putting the house on. These homes can be really practical because they can go up really quickly because they are put in pieces and they're just directed together like you would put together Legos. The time frame for building these is a lot shorter in comparison to traditional home building. So a lot of people have come to the conclusion that this would be the best way to offset time restraints so you would with traditional home building. The thing is that recently with home construction, the way it's been, there's been time constraints across the board, whether it be modular, manufactured, or even traditional building. There has been a supply chain issue in every single sector, even with manufactured homes that come in two pieces. Many people that I've talked to recently, investors, were thinking that this could shorten their time frame. And at the beginning of 2021, it did shorten their time frame because they already had some of these homes in stock where they were able to deliver them on site. The problem that they were having though is getting the people to actually install the homes. So they're having a delay in contractors. Then later within the year, of course, building supplies shortened up and then they had another delay. So they would order the house and they'd said the normal time frame would have been 3 months for them to get it. Now it's been extended to even 9 to 12 months out. So if you were thinking that this was a perfect time for you to get into the modular because you're going to get it done faster, it may not be as quick as you thought. It could actually take maybe less time if you were going to go ahead and build it the traditional way with a traditional builder. If you're a novice to home building, there is advantages to getting a modular home because you pretty much can pick out what you want on a computer screen and they have it delivered to your site. The thing is about modular construction is that you still need a home builder to put it together. This is one of the biggest mistakes that most of people make when it comes to building modular homes. They think that they can hire anybody. And yes, many general contractors can put together a modular construction. That doesn't mean they know how to put that modular construction together. Not too long ago, I got a phone call from somebody that was putting their modular home together. The company recommended a general contractor in the area. He started putting it together, and as they got into the project, he finally confessed that this was the first modular home that he had ever put together. That is a big giant red flag. So if you're investing into modular construction and you're thinking that you can hire any general contractor to put it together, I highly suggest you hire somebody that actually knows how to put it together. Most modular home companies have a general contractor in the area. Some do not. And when you are researching modular home companies and they do not have a general contractor in the area, make sure, double, triple, quadruple, make sure they have that experience to put together a modular home. Ask to see examples of modular homes they put together in the past. If they can't come up with any examples or they come up with computer renderings, that does not mean they know how to put a modular home together. You have to have good references from that general contractor. That's true of any construction for that matter. There is a system that these modular homes need to put together, and if they don't know that system, it can be a real mess and it can cost you a lot more time putting it together. And of course, time is money. Now let's just say you're an investor and you're thinking about putting a bunch of tiny little modular homes on a piece of property. And you were thinking about, putting in boxable. As of today, I still think they're about a year out from being able to deliver the boxables out on the open market. I have not gotten an update on the actual date when they're going to actually deliver it to people's homes. I know that many of you have been waiting on those boxables. I have too, because I'm ready to see them out in the world. I've only seen them in a few places like Texas, over there by Elon Musk, but I haven't seen them in anybody's backyard as of yet. So hopefully another year from now. But if you're counting on that and you've been planning for the piece of property and you are planning on putting a bunch of these boxables on this piece of property, you're going to have to check with zoning first. even though the piece of land is there, they may only allow so many houses on that acre. And that's another mistake that a lot of people make. They think because they own this 16 or 20 or 30 acres, they can put as many houses as they want on that piece of land. And even though there's no HOA to tell them that they can't, they could have some local laws that say you can't. Now, in my area, lots of people were thinking they were going to put up some tiny homes on 1 acre lots, and they were going to be able to do Airbnb. This is another thing you need to consider if you're thinking about doing these kind of modular investment homes. Some areas do not allow for any more Airbnbs. The hotel industry has put a big giant on that. No more Airbnbs throughout the area, especially in New Orleans. They won't even allow it, not at all. You may have to go a little bit further out for you to be able to do those Airbnbs, and that may not work out because it's not close to the area where people will be vacationing. I know it's a problem here, so just FYI, keep that ahead of time before you decide to invest in a big piece of land to do that. It could save you tens of thousands of dollars, and that's what I want to do. I want you to save tens of thousands of dollars. Now, if you're a new investor and you're really excited because you see some of these manufactured modular homes that are online, another big mistake is that you only see them online. You're not doing your due diligence and doing your homework on what kind of modular homes are actually being built and if they're actually being delivered. In some cases, some of these companies that have popped up in the last 2 years, they're just fundraising money. They're just a concept of a house. They're not an actual home that can be delivered to your property right then and there. And some people are really gung-ho because they see these like great advertisements and they've been all over their Facebook feed and they're like, have you heard of this company? And I'm like, I've heard of it, but I've yet to have seen a product of theirs. It's exciting, I know, and you want to invest, but who knows when the product is actually going to be in your hands. If you can't go to the factory or you can't see one for yourself in person, that's a big giant red flag. So don't get sucked into a modular home company that hasn't even gotten off the ground yet. They're just collecting, like investors right now. So don't be one of those investors that can't actually get the product. Be the investor that has the property that will give you cash flow and cash flow soon. That's what you want to do if you're investing in a modular construction for rentals or Airbnbs. Now, even though a modular home is built to traditional home building standards, if not higher, that doesn't mean that every HOA will allow for a modular home construction in your neighborhood. The HOA's covenants are extremely important. So if you have bought a vacant lot in a neighborhood, that does not mean that they're going to allow you to put a modular home in there. A lot of older HOAs will have it in their covenants that says no modular homes. But in some cases, you can take your plans of your modular home to the HOA and show them exactly what you're building and the building standards that they're built to. And sometimes they'll make an exception for your specific modular home. I've seen it done. We've had it even done in our own neighborhood. No one ever even knew it was a modular home. It looks just like a traditional built home. But in other cases, when you have a very old HOA with a bunch of flat out no, because they think it's going to bring down the property value. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and some people will argue with me in the comment section, but any appraiser will tell you a modular constructed home appraises identical to a regular traditional stick-built home. There's no difference in the building quality of a modular home other than it could be actually built to a higher standard. So they appraise exactly the same. They're in line with the rest of the neighborhood. There is no difference. So if you're trying to plead your case with an HOA, explain that to them and maybe even bring an appraiser with you so that way they can plead your case for you too. That, there's nothing wrong with your modular home. Just make sure it hits the right kind of square footage and everything else for the neighborhood. And if they can see it on paper and you show them actual pictures of a modular home and what it would look like for the rest of the neighborhood, they may just give you a pass. Let's just hope. Some HOAs are just ridiculous though. We all know that. Everybody knows the housing market is hot, hot, hot. And a lot of people are looking to flip properties right now as quickly as possible. And investors are not having as much luck as they had in years previous on buying foreclosures or low income properties that they could turn around and flip. So some investors have said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and buy some modular homes because they think they're going to get rich quick. So they end up buying a piece of land. They end up developing that piece of land and they end up investing into everything that is involved, including the sewer and the wiring and the cable and everything that goes out to a brand new house. They have the modular home delivered to the area, and some of these investors are ending up breaking even because of the delays in construction, unforeseen things that happened with the piece of property when they were developing the raw land. The cost of building materials like cement had gone up exponentially. They didn't count on labor not showing up when they were supposed to during the pandemic. They held onto this property forever, and it didn't really make them that nervous because the property values were going up throughout the area. But when everything was said and done and they went to put the for sale sign up, with all the money they invested, with everything that needed to be done, they ended up breaking even. Now, if they held on to that piece of property and turned it into a rental unit, then yes, they would have made money and it would have been a income earning property. But their whole scheme, their whole idea with doing this was they were going to build these houses for cheap and they were going to sell them for a high end. And it didn't really work out that way. If you're planning to get into this to make a ton of money right away from building modular homes to build sometimes are just as expensive, if not more, than traditional construction. It all depends on the company that you work with. I know that a lot of people think modular homes, they're going to be cheaper per square foot, but you still have to develop the land and everything else that's involved with the house. Some people get in way over their head before they even start. So always make out a good plan. Work with somebody who's done this before that can work with you on this plan. And don't buy a piece of raw land that you don't know anything about. If you can find a lot that's already developed, that already has your utilities attached to it, that's going to be the best piece of land that you invest in when putting in a modular home, or any home for that matter. That brings me to another point, and it doesn't even matter if you're building modular, manufactured, or a traditional built home, and you're doing it yourself and you're hiring your own contractors. The cheapest doesn't always mean it's the best, but also the most expensive doesn't mean it's the best. I always say go in the middle of the road. That's always been my way of doing things. And that even goes for something as simple as painting, because I've gone cheap once, and that, like I said, I did it one time. I got a cheap painter and I regretted it because I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning painting walls. So just know that. Always get references. Another thing to be looking for if you're considering a modular home company, in some cases, the roof of the building does not come with the modular home. Like for instance, boxables homes are just that. It's just a box. And it's up to you as a homeowner to go ahead and put any type of roof you want on there. They have what they call as a flat roof, but here in Louisiana, that wouldn't fly. You would need a high-pitched roof. And in some other areas that we're going to require to have a roof. So make sure you budget for that. Another thing to think about if you're doing those types of homes, even though the boxable home is $50,000, and the outside of that, again, it's just an outside shell. Now you can leave it like that. It's perfectly fine to leave it like that. And if you like the look of that, you can. But if you're someone like me, you want the extra oomph. So you're going to have to budget for siding or brick veneer, that kind of thing. So you're going to want to price that out as well. It's just something to think about if you're looking at a product like Boxable that doesn't have those on it when it's delivered to your location. Does anybody know what time it is? Do you know what time? Do you want most people to forget that things take time? And some people, when they think about investing in modular homes, they think it's going to be a short time span. But some things, just like anything when it comes to real estate, takes a lot longer. Well, if you're looking at this as an investment property that you plan on keeping for a period of time, do not think that you're going to flip it fast. It's a long investment, especially if you're going to do it brand new and have it turn over with rentals. And make sure you plan that out ahead of time, because it can take a little bit longer than you were expecting. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than you're expecting. Just like anything in real estate, do not buy it in a crummy area. In some cases, that could work out for you. I'm one of these people that has to look and make sure that it has progressed every single year, that it's going up in value. Now, a real estate agent in the area is going to be able to help you with that. But make sure you find a real estate agent that is proficient in that area when it comes to investment properties. They're going to know the best areas when it comes to people wanting to rent them. And they'll also be able to tell you which lots are available in the area that you can put a modular home on. The ones that know about investing, they're going to be different than the ones that do traditional real estate transactions. And if you can find one that is proficient in modular construction and investment properties, boy, you've won the lottery. There isn't a lot of those, but if you have find one of those, well, give them my name, because I haven't met many. Kristina wants to talk though. I want to put them on a video. Kristina says yes. Right now, it's very trendy to buy small modular homes and put them on a piece of property, but make sure you have the right permits in place and that you're going to be able to do what you want to do with those pieces of property and the modular homes. I would hate for you to be in a bad situation where you can't do what you want to do. Plan. I can't tell you enough to plan and budget everything out. And if you've never done anything like this, maybe consider working with somebody that is experienced in investing in these types of homes Homes, and you guys could partner up. And then you can learn everything you need to know from that original partner. So when you go on your own, you already have the skill set to do it on your own. That is a smart way of investing if you're new at investing in any home, whether it's modular, traditional, flipping, doesn't matter. It's always better to learn by somebody else's mistakes first so that you don't make those mistakes. And speaking of some mistakes that people make, you may want to check out this video right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.